This past week, I've seen so many videos about people having issues at African braiding salons, as well as people having issues working with regular black hair service providers. I have thoughts on that, but I want to talk about the African braiding salon, the African braiding shops and stuff. I really feel like they don't want to do our hair anymore. And what I think is really interesting is I feel like they've put themselves in the corner. They have created these high expectations of being open 24 hours, this, and that. And a lot of these shops, they're not open 24 hours. They say they are, but they're never, like, no one is available. Like, people are not available. And I just feel like they've backed themselves into a corner. And they're exasperated. Also, too, a lot of these African braiding shops, these are sweatshops. Now, like the last time I went to one, I went to Nadine's Braiding to get my hair and my daughter's hair done. This was a couple years ago. It was my first time and my last time there because it didn't sit with my spirit. These African braiding shops are like, they're sweatshops. And I don't know if maybe it was different when I was younger. I feel like it was different when I was younger. But I also feel like a lot of the girls that are working in those shops, they are in debt bondage. They're in bonded labor. And I've seen like a couple of documentaries and movies about this. But basically, like, you know how people from different countries, they'll go somewhere, like they'll come to a different country that's supposed to be better, right? Like the UK or America or something like that. And they have to work off their debt. And so they go to, I don't know, maybe they do like cleaning services or hair braiding or something. I don't know. But I feel like a lot of these girls that work in these African braiding shops, they're in bonded labor. And like, if you watch Orange is the New Black, do you remember Claudette and how she was living in that house with all those girls and she was managing them for the cleaning service she worked in? Those girls were in bonded labor. And so they had to work to pay off their debt that it took to get them over to that country. And a lot of time in situations like that, the debt just keeps getting inflated and the people never actually pay it off. It's rare that they pay off their debt, and so they're like stuck. And I really feel like that has to be the answer as to why tensions are just running high like that between these braiding shop employees and these braiding shop owners and black women. I can't think of any other answer. That's really what it looks and it feels like. And at this point, I would rather pay, as much as it hurts my soul, I would rather pay $300 and $400 to go to some girls, to go to some African-American girls' salon suite to get my hair or my daughter's hair braided. Because it's just like the stress and aggravation of everything. I don't have the patience for it. Life is stressful enough. And I almost forgot to say, another reason why I feel like it is bonded labor is because the quality of people's braids are trash. Like, a lot of these people, a lot of them, the women that are working there, the girls that are working there, they can't braid. So when you're going to get your hair done, you never know what you're going to get. You might get lucky and you might get somebody that can actually braid, but they can't. And when I went to Nadine's like several years ago, and when I say several years ago, it was, what was this, 25? It was probably in like 23 when we went. I was waiting to try to find some. I walked in, it was so overwhelming, it was overstimulating, and I was like, I was just ready to leave, but I needed to get my daughter's hair done before she had to go to her dad's. But I was like, yeah, we're trying to get our hair done. And they was like, okay, hold on, we'll find somebody for you. And then they sat me down literally in like the middle of the room. I was in the middle of the room. And the person was like, oh, well, I'll do your hair. And then, you know, I'm waiting to see, like, okay, who's going to service my daughter? And they was trying to take her to the other building. I was like, hell no. I said, no, that's not going to work for me. And so they put us both back there. But anyway, while we were waiting to get service, and we're still in that front area at Nadine's braiding center, braiding hair, whatever it's called, in Maryland, this girl walked in with this guy. African girl, African guy walked in. He talked to Nadine. He said she needs a job. And Nadine looked at her and she pointed to, I'm sorry, my cat. Nadine, she pointed to a poster at the back of the wall. She pointed to the girl. She said, can you do this style? And the girl said, yeah. And she said, okay, go work on that person's head over there. We don't know if she can do braids. We don't know nothing. And so that girl walks over there with another girl and just started doing who knows what the fuck to her hair. So that's why I really feel like a lot of them are in bonded labor, because that anybody can get a job there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think now with like Nadine's, with her opening the new building and stuff, and I remember they was having some like really bad issues I think a year ago, and they closed down and was doing training. I think she had finally decided, okay, well, I need to go ahead and start training these people that you know, bringing on or whatever. So